Finishing school weaponry. Short story by JameliaAlicia. My shoes touched a hard, solid ground. I looked up at the chandeliers in the ceiling of the Madame Seraphine's finishing academy. I confessed a deadly secret in the face of elegance. My only choice was to put my shoes down in subtle motion. I caught the attention of Madame Seraphine, the head of the school. Her grey hair tied in a slick back bun and her tall stature created a room of intimidation and silence. "This is not what you think. How would you respond?" Madame Seraphine said. "I will respond assertively, refusing violence at no cost," Justine said strongly. She looked deep into the head's eyes and did not make contact with other students sitting across from her on the curved table. This school taught them a lesson in elegance in the face of war. The challenge of it all was not to show no violence. The answer is no, of course. Brushed off secrets as the pen hit the last page of her written assessment. Justine collects her things and gets up from her seat. She walked out of the library and into the school's common room. Loud echoes of boys playing pool and girls watching TV were heard from the corridors away. Justine walks into the common room and is greeted by an over-masculine boy in his late teens. His demeanour screams competitiveness and possessiveness. "What's your problem, hey?" Justine said. "Why are you here?" Thomas said. He brushed closer to Justine and looked down at her dark features. "None of your business." Justine slowly grabs the sword from the stocking of her upper thigh. "Do not make me. I'm willing to leave a mark of my killings and you could be one of them," Justine said sarcastically. She brushed past him and went straight to the couch in the common room. Justine sighed and looked around her. She noticed the students were leaving the common room and she looked down at her watch and noticed the time was 12:35. Class was not until 1:45 p.m. One student found her and replied. "Classes are now. Announcement is to be made this afternoon by the head of the school," Madame Seraphine said, one student with her jet black hair and forest green eyes. The student stood still for a moment, almost nervous breath. Justine stares. You should hurry," he added quietly. "Everyone's already gathering." Justine narrowed her eyes. "What's the announcement?" The boy hesitated. "That's the strange part. No one knows." Before she could respond, he disappeared down the corridor with the rest of the students, following through the academy halls like dark water. Justine remained seated for several seconds. Something felt wrong. Not dangerous, worse, controlled. Madame Seraphine only called emergency assemblies for 3 reasons: betrayal, war, or death. Justine slowly rose from her couch. The sword strapped beneath her skirt pressed cold against her thigh as she walked through the corridors of the academy. Portraits of her former students lined the walls, posed women in silk dresses and military coats and pearl gloves, all smiling, all dead. The chandeliers above flickered softly as students gathered inside the grand assembly hall. The room resembled an opera theatre more than a school chamber. Velvet seated curved around the enormous table throbbing below, while her silver banners hung from the ceiling. No one spoke loudly. At Madame Seraphine's academy, science was another form of discipline. Justine entered carefully and took a seat near the middle rows. Her eyes scanned the room automatically. Exit doors, balconies, blind spots, potential weapons. All old habits never disappeared. Thomas sat several rows ahead, leaning arrogantly in his chair with 2 boys beside him. He glanced towards Justine briefly before smirking. She ignored him. Then the lights dimmed. Every student straightened immediately. Madame Seraphine appeared above them on the upper balcony. Her silver cane echoed once against the marble floor. The entire room fell silent. She looked over the students like a queen inspecting soldiers before battle. "Good afternoon," she said calmly. Her voice carried effortlessly across the hall. "This academy is founded on one principle," she paused. "That elegance survives where chaos fails." Student listened carefully. Even Thomas looked serious now. Madame Seraphine descended the staircase slowly. For decades, this institution has produced diplomats, strategists, ambassadors, military advisors, and political heirs. Her sharp grey eyes scanned the crowd. "But history has misunderstood us." She stopped at the centre of the hall. "We were never created to serve power." A strange tension filled the room. Justine felt it instantly. Madame Seraphine continued, We were created to survive it." Murmurs spread softly among the students. Then the academy alarms began screaming. Red lights flooded the hall. Students jolted upright. Thomas cursed under his breath. The enormous doors at the back of the chamber slammed shut automatically. Metal locks sealed them. Justine's pulse quickened instantly. This is not a drill. Madame Seraphine did not move. In fact, she almost looked disappointed. A professor rushed towards her from the side entrance, pale and breathless. Madam, he said urgently, the eastern gates have been breached. The room erupted into panic. Students began standing. Questions flew everywhere. Breached by who? What's happened? Are we under attack? Madame Seraphine raised one gloved hand. Silence returned and almost immediately. The control she possessed over the room was terrifying. Sit down, she ordered. Everyone obeyed. Even frightened students lowered themselves back into their seats. Justine watched carefully as Madame Seraphine removed one black glove from finger by finger. Beneath the elegance were scars. Old scars. War scars. The outside world, Madame Seraphine said quietly, believes this school teaches etiquette. A distant explosion shocked the academy walls. Dust drifted from the ceiling. But etiquette, she continued, is merely the camouflage of discipline. Several teachers moved swiftly around the room, unlocking hidden compartments beneath seats. Students gasped. Weapons, rows of silver pistols, daggers, thin blades hidden inside polished cases. Thomas immediately grabbed one. Justine didn't move at first. She simply stared. Madame Seraphine looked directly at her. For some of you, the headmistress said, today will be your first encounter with real violence. Her expression hardened. For others, her eyes lingered brief on Justine. It will feel familiar. Justine slowly reached beneath her chair and removed a slender black handgun. Cold metal settled into her palm naturally, too naturally. The student beside her noticed. You used one before, the girl whispered nervously. Justine checked the chamber calmly. Yes, another explosion thundered nearby. This time the windows shuttered. Students screamed as glass rained across the hall. Outside, smoke climbed into the grey afternoon sky beyond the academy gates. Figures dressed in dark military uniforms stormed the courtyard below. Thomas stood immediately. What are they? Madame Seraphine's face became unreadable. The people, she said quietly, who finally discovered what the school truly is. The main doors began trembling violently. Someone or something was trying to force its way inside. Every student froze. Madame Seraphine picked up a thin silver sword from the podium beside her. Elegant, sharp, deadly, sassy without expectations. Then she smiled, not warmly, not kindly, but like someone greeting an old enemy. Class, she said softly, today's lesson is composure. Everyone prepared their swords for a lesson of elegance. Perhaps weaponry was in the hidden science of resilience and strength. Swords were only knives in disguise, now used as a deadly weapon of complete submission and free will. The doors exploded inward. The wood splitted violently across the marble floor as smoke poured into Grand Assembly Hall. Students screamed and ducked beneath their seats with emerged armed figures. Dressed in black tactical uniforms, stormed through the entrance. Masks covered their faces. Silver emblems marked their shoulders. Imperial Division. Justine's heartbeat slowed instead of quickening. Instinct took over. She counted footsteps. 8 are entering first. 2 carrying rifles. 1 commander. The other close-range rogue combat. Thomas instantly raised his pistol with reckless confidence. Get down, Justine shouted. Too late. Gunfire erupted. The bullet shattered the chandelier directly above him instead of his skull by pure luck. Crystal rained through the hall while students scattered in panic. Madame Seraphine did not flinch. Formation lines, she added sharply. Several students moved instantly. 1 froze. Fear revealed who truly belonged at the academy. 1 girl began sobbing beside the velvet curtains. Another dropped her weapon entirely. Justine slid behind the marble pillar as bullets torn through the assembly hall walls. She exhaled slowly and fired once. 1 soldier collapsed immediately. The student beside her stared in horror. You killed him? Justine replied, reloaded calmly. He was trying to kill you. The girl looked sick. Justine understood. That was the difference between training and reality. Madame Seraphine moved through the battlefield with horrifying elegance. Her silver sword carved through the air like silk as she disarmed the one attacker before striking another across the throat. Precise, efficient, beautiful. The academy professors fought beside her, not like teachers, like veterans. Thomas tackled the Imperial soldier near the staircase, barely avoiding the knife aimed at his chest. His arrogance disappeared quickly beneath a survival instinct. This to help, he shouted. Justine rolled her eyes before firing into the soldier's shoulder. Thomas shoved the attacker aside violently. You took your time. You complained too much. Another explosion shook the building. This one is closer. The western wall cracks loudly. Students screamed again. Madame Seraphine's voice cut through the chaos. Evacuation route C is compromised. Move the first years underground immediately. The hidden section of the floor beneath the stage slowly opened, revealing descending stone lit stairs lit by red emergency lights. Several young students rushed toward it, but one of the masked soldiers grabbed a frightened girl before she could escape. He pressed a blade against her throat. "Drop your weapons!" Science fell instantly. The girl trembled violently. Justine recognized her immediately. Forest green eyes, jet black hair, the same student who warned her earlier. The soldier dragged the girl closer. One move and she dies. Several students lowered their weapons slowly. Thomas clenched his jaw. Madame Seraphine remained perfectly still. The soldier laughed beneath his mask. "So this is the famous academy," he mocked. "Girls pretending to be warriors." A silver blade suddenly pierced through his throat. Blood sprayed across the marble. The soldier collapsed without another sound. The girl stumbled away, gasping. Everyone stared. Madame Seraphine lowered her thrown knife calmly. "Rule 1, she said coldly. Never negotiate with people who announce violence before using it." Even the Imperial soldiers hesitated now. Fear shifted direction. Justine watched Madame Seraphine do it differently after that. Not as a headmistress, not as a leader, but something far more dangerous. A woman who had survived too many wars to fear another one. Suddenly, the academy lights died. Darkness swallowed the hall. Only the emergency red lightning remained. Students' breath uneven around her. Then, a slow clap echoed from the entrance. Someone else had entered the hall, tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in long black military coat and touched by fighting around him. Unlike the others, he wore no mask. His pale eyes moved across the room until they landed directly on Justine, who recognition flashed there instantly. Her stomach tightened. "No." "Impossible," the man smiled faintly. "Well," he said softly, "there you are." Justine's hand tightened around her weapon. Thomas looked between them. "You know him?" She didn't answer, because she couldn't. Not when the memories were already flooding back. Smoke, blood, a burning house, a father collapsed onto the floor, and a same pale-eyed man standing above the body. Commander Lucien Vell. The man who murdered her family. Madame Seraphine's expression darkened slightly. "Interesting," she murmured. Lucien stepped further into the hall. Imperial soldiers immediately moved aside from him, not out of respect, out of fear. "You've grown since the last time I saw you," Lucien said to Justine calmly. Her voice came out colder than she expected. "You should have killed me when you had the chance." "No," Lucien replied. "I wanted to see what the grief would turn you into." The room felt suffocatingly silent. Thomas stared at Justine. "You never told anyone who you were, because names get people killed," she snapped. Lucien smiled again. "There she is." Justine slowly stepped forward from the students. Every instant inside her screamed violence, but Madame Seraphine lessons echoed louder. Elegance in the face of war. Control. Composure. Even now. Especially now. Lucien tilted his head slightly. "Come peacefully," he said, "and the academy survives." Some students looked toward Justine instantly. Fear, suspicion, blame. She recognized those looks. People always searched for someone to sacrifice, and survival became uncertain. Thomas stood abruptly. "No." Everyone looked at him, even Justine. He swallowed hard before continuing. "She stays." The words surprised even him. Lucian's eyes narrowed slightly. "How noble." "She's one of us," Thomas said firmly now. One by one, other students stepped forward beside him. Justine, the girl with the green eyes, several first years, even frightened students who could barely hold their weapons. Then Madame Seraphine descended in the final staircase step. "You entered my academy uninvited," she said quietly to Lucien. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. "And now," she continued, "you're threatening my students?" Lucien's expression lost of its amusement. Madame Seraphine raised her silver sword. "Class," she said softly. "Final lesson." Students tightened their grips on their weapons. Her grey eyes sharpened. "When the word declares war against you," a smile crossed her face. Make it regret surviving you. You are a deadly weapon of this ministry. Class dismissed."